let's jump into the essay voyage level of Michael Clay Thompson. Guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shauna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are in our 7th year of homeschooling. I have a 6th grader and a 2nd grader, and today we are going to be discussing the language arts program that we have been using for the 2023-2024 school year for my 6th grader, and that is Michael Clay Thompson Essay Voyage. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I will, of course, have everything that I am talking about linked down below. If you are looking for a lower level, I probably have a video here on this channel I should have Poodle, Island, Town, and now Voyage level videos all here. I just posted the video right before this one is the Poodle series, kind of an in-depth look at that. And the reason that I am sharing about the Michael Clay Thompson Language Arts program is that I have not found much information on it. So I think it can be really valuable to share. And I think it is incredibly contentious because it's a bit out of the box. It's a bit out of our norm. And also the cost feels high. I'm not going to say that it is high because I actually don't think that it is when you look around at some of the other programs. And I highly, highly believe that the value is there. So the cost versus value, I think is absolutely huge. So let me explain to you why. Okay, so Michael Clay Thompson wrote language arts program. It is a bit narrative style, at least the levels that I've used so far. And I kept saying 4th level, but it's like Poodle 1, 2, 3. So technically this is the 3rd level, the Voyage level. And we have loved it. And this year, in using this level, somehow is the year that I found out with both of my children that I have an absolute love of this program. Now, the Essay Voyage level is 15 books, you heard me correctly, and you can buy paperbacks, ebooks, paperbacks and ebooks, just student books. You can buy them in a whole different conglomeration of some sort of makeup and setup. I have done the ebooks in the past to save money, and I have never made more of a mistake. When you buy a package, they actually include a user guide that tells you how to use it. And we'll look at this in just a minute. I'll give you like one look at it, a little down shot here in just a minute to kind of explain what that is, because that's not what we use. So I will also explain how we use this program. But you get 15 books, and that is both student books and instructor manuals. And the cost, for example, for the package that I get is $375. The packages range, I've got it pulled up, from $262, which I'm guessing is all ebooks, to $565, which might be all the paperbacks and all the ebooks, maybe. But the package that I buy, which is all paperbacks, is $375. And if you break that down per book, it's only $25 per book, but you're getting so many books. There is an option, which I didn't bring them in here, for the vocabulary, Caesar's English, I go ahead and add on the flashcards. So you can easily make flashcards, but I like to add them on. Now, people always ask, do we need it all? No, you don't need it all. I want you to make that decision for you. I super love having it all. So I'm going to think that I like having it. I like having it all. You can also, these books do have a really, really high secondhand resale value. It is marketed as language arts for gifted and talented children. I do not think that is the case. I think it is just, it's such a new way, I feel like, of approaching language arts. And the focus is 5-strand language arts, okay? So 5-strand being grammar, a heavy focus on grammar, but not in the way you've been taught. Writing, poetics, vocabulary, and literature. And he focuses a lot on classic literature. For example, just right now, I have a big pile of books right here. Call of the Wild and Treasure Island are right here. Now, there are ways you can absolutely save money. For example, Call of the Wild, Treasure Island. We own Treasure Island, but I still find value in buying these books, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and let me make sure I've covered everything I wanted to cover to now. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a look inside the books, and then probably while we're looking inside the books, I'm gonna give you an explanation of how we use the program, okay? So I will let you know how we have been using the program, which I have found to be just incredibly easy to do, and that is worthwhile to me. So I'm gonna give you a look at that. Let's pop over and we'll look inside. Okay, so here is a massive pile of books. We are missing one book because it is The Invisible Man and it is on her nightstand where she reads it. So we do not have that book. So I am first going to give you a look inside these books, and then we're gonna circle back to how we use them. Okay, so that's how I'm gonna do this. This, when you purchase the complete package, tells you 28-week lesson plan. They give it to you. I do not use it. Okay, let's start over here with our readers. Now these are our literature. This is the Search Trilogy. They give each trilogy every year. You get 3 classic literature readers, with the exception of the first level where it is a Michael Clay Thompson readers to help you kind of reinforce the grammar principles, a little narrative story, super fun. And we are missing The Invisible Man. Now, you may be wondering why you need an instructor manual for this, but it just gives you a little ideas to talk with them, to ask them questions, to make sure that they're kind of following along. And you also may be wondering, Shauna, why do I need to buy these books? And you don't. That's your choice. I, however, like her to have the specific version that comes with the curriculum. And I like it because if they're using words that she doesn't know or may not know, they have the definitions printed on the bottom of the page. I like that it's got things highlighted and selected that go along with her education. For example, here, they're explaining how this sentence breaks down in the same manner that she is familiar with seeing it. So that is why I like to buy the specific readers. I'm going to try to keep everything on my tiny table. Now here is the Grammar Voyage. Now let me tell you, just like in my Poodle series, I told you I don't know what it is about these books, but this is my complaint. Why are they all delaminating? I know we shove them in and pull them out all over the place, but the clear coat always comes off of our books, and it drives me insane. And it is a consistent problem only with my books from Royal Fireworks Press. So that is a complaint that I have. Don't think it's all just like I'm all gaga-eyed. Realistically, this drives me nuts, especially since I'm going to be reusing them for my next child. And it doesn't happen as much, the instructor manual. It is the one the kids are pulling in and out. So I get it, but also like it's annoying. Okay, so here we go. Grammar Voyage goes over parts of speech. In the earlier ones, it will be broken down, noun, pronoun, yada, yada. But here, we're just reviewing parts of speech, parts of sentence, phrases, clauses, boom, and done. Boom and done. And I like these books because they are color-coded to match the parts of speech. And there are activities right in these books that they can do all on their own. Okay, so I like that. The instructor manuals are very nice to have because they have the answers. They also have a little bit more things you can download. Now, I like getting into the kind of higher up levels because they do have things. These have a little bit more information, but I like the visual representation that they have for the sentence parts. I like it very much, and it kind of gets increasingly like harder and more complicated. Now, I don't know if it says it in all of the books, but it does say it in the, it does say recommend in the Caesar's English book. They are very realistic. They say don't try to do everything. If you try to do everything, you will never have time for anything else. And it is so true. Now, this is our practice voyage. Now, practice voyage, because this is kind of where it differs quite a bit, they want you to do 1 sentence analysis a day. That's it. That's all they want you to do. 1 4-level analysis a day. Parts of speech, parts of sentence, phrases, clauses, boom, done. 1 a day. And again, I'm going to tell you in just a minute how we're using these, okay? This is Essay Voyage. Now, this is where we've really gotten into how to write an essay. And this has assignments in the back of each one. It's got a fun narrative. Now, this is one of the things that really has stuck out to me this year. He picks up a typewriter and is writing things. So this is about his narrative about his travels. And then this is it as if he's writing. And I like the difference in font because I found myself struggling a little more, my brain having to work a little harder to read the classic old-timey typewriter font. So I like that she's getting that exposure to different fonts. And that might seem like a really small thing, but I enjoy it very much. Now we've got classic essays from Theodore Roosevelt, Edgar Allan Poe. Now it's showing you all the different ways that you can make a correct essay. I also really love that Michael Clay Thompson does not focus on some sort of formulaic writing process. I like that it is a lot kind of more in depth than that. He says, you know, if your paragraph says everything it needs to in 1 sentence, then that's a perfect paragraph. And I like that. I like that. Now, see, look at how not cute the instructor manuals are, but you know, it's okay if they're not in color too, I guess. Classic essays from Emerson. You're reading classic essays and you can come in here and you're figuring out the right sentences and the right meanings and what's right and what's not and what are the, you know, the different problems in a sentence, and they've got maps and questions and explanations, and I enjoy this program so incredibly much. Okay, so World of Poetry also, like, what is that? It just drives me nuts, So in poetry, we are reading Emily Dickinson and we're going over meter and sound and the importance of repeating, you know, patterns and rhymes and meter and all of the wonderful things. Again, they're color coded and I love that. I rhyme, end rhyme, near rhyme. It has been a really enjoyable experience, and she literally did say that she didn't like poetry and now has come around so much, and it makes me really happy that she has found a love of poetry because I like poetry. Now over here we didn't do them all because there was a lot, but you're figuring out in the line if it's you want both the meter and then the meter that it is. So it is what kind of foot it is and then the meter, and it's so amazing. And so I am going to be inserting a couple of her works. Now, Caesar's English, this is 2. We do get the flashcards. Caesar's English 1 goes over, 20 weeks of Greek and Latin stems, and this does another 20 weeks of Greek and Latin stems and the way that they apply to modern day words. And usually because there are a lot of activities in every lesson for Caesar's English, a lot of activities. So it is a lot of reading, which we'll read together. And then there's a lot of activities. And so what I have asked her to do, we've practiced our flashcards, and then I give her the choice. I just let her choose 2 of the activities every week to do. One of them is always, and then there's a review going over Caesar's English 1 as well. But one of her activities is always the word search, and I'm okay with that. That makes her happy. And then Caesar's English, the instructor manual is just 1. And then the maps aren't pretty, but it's not in color, so it does make some of them a bit harder to see. But that's okay. It has been very enjoyable and we like it. Now, would you like to know how they say to use it? And then I'll tell you how we use it, okay? So let me get out. For example, they want you to do the grammar voyage first, okay? And then you can add in vocabulary, and then you can add in practice, and then you can add in writing, and then poetics, and then literature. And then over here, for example, let's look at week 20. For week 20, they would have you doing grammar. You would do a 4-level analysis of a few sentences in practice voyage, so essentially 1 a day. And then you would have them read chapter 10 or finish and do several of the activities in the chapter for writing. Okay, and then for vocabulary, they would read lesson 12 and complete the activities. And then in literature, they should finish the book by reading chapters 5 through 7 in The Call of the Wild. This is not how we are doing it. I am not following this as prescribed because it was confusing to me and I didn't like it. So here is what we have done. There are 20 chapters of Caesar's English. Anytime we have a hard week or we need to skip a chapter for some reason, we skip a chapter because there's only 20 and I have more school weeks planned than that, okay? So we are doing, okay. This is how we start our year. I let her decide which of the 3 literature books, which order she wants to read them in because it is of no consequence to me. I pre-read them in the summer before handing them off, so we have a lot of things to chat about because I've recently read them. She can read at her own pace. I do check in and make sure that she is getting to like good stopping parts and points and things like that, making sure she's keeping up. And we are discussing what she's reading in her literature. Okay, and she can read them at whatever pace she sees fit as long as she's getting it done. We start the year with Grammar Voyage, reading 1 chapter a week. Now that's a little harder in Grammar Voyage because, for example, parts of speech is like 70 pages long. So what we did is parts of speech and parts of sentence were, I think it was at least parts of speech was very long. So we broke it up into like two weeks or 3 weeks, but all we did was read and do the activities in the book, okay? So for this book, we start here and just read like a chapter a week. So we just do this first. So she's reading at her leisure and we're doing this. We are also doing vocabulary because it is not dependent on anything else we are doing. So we do 1 Caesar's English lesson a week, okay? So that is how we start. Once we have finished Grammar Voyage, we will do 1 practice sentence a week. Okay, so we add in, not a week, I'm sorry. We will do 1 practice sentence a day. As soon as we are finished with Grammar Voyage, we're still doing Caesar's English, we're still reading, we move right into Essay Voyage and we do 1 chapter a week. Now, in Essay Voyage, there is usually one day that involves there's one day in here that involves a sentence analysis, which we usually get to because we will read. Here, you know what? Here, let me show you how we break this down. Because this is also a little bit tricky because there's a lot more to do in this book. So let me just show you how we're breaking it down, okay? So we're doing 1 practice sentence a day at this point, 1 Caesar's English a week, reading at our leisure. So what we will do on Mondays, we will read the beginning of the chapter and we will go through the word activity. When we get to a correct sentence, this will be her Tuesday. So on Tuesday, she is labeling her sentence in essay. So we don't do a practice voyage sentence because she's doing one already here. So on Tuesday, we're going from a perfect sentence all the way through bugs, okay? That's Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, she is doing a practice voyage sentence. We're still continuing Caesar's English and reading at her leisure. And we will do a correct paragraph through a correct essay, okay? Now, our last day of the school week usually for us is Thursday. So we will read classic essay, the narrative portion of each chapter, and I will say you need to choose one of these to write next week and turn in next week. And that is how we have been doing that. As soon as we finished Essay Voyage, I was a little concerned. I wanted her to keep writing. So what I have her doing is writing a longer essay about our vacation to London. So she is still doing practice voyage every day, Caesar's English every week, reading at her leisure. And now that we have completed Essay Voyage, she's working slowly on a longer essay, and we are reading 1 chapter of poetry a week. Now she has, and I will insert a few selections because some of these have some writing assignments at the end of them. Some of them are more like workbook assignments, and that's okay. But we are reading 1 chapter of poetry a week. So what we are currently doing as we are wrapping up the end of our school year is she's working on her big essay. We're doing a practice sentence daily. We're reading this on Monday with completing her writing assignment by the end of the week, if there is one, or her workbook assignment. Caesar's English, we're reading together, and she's doing 2 activities, and she's finishing up her last book, The Invisible Man. And that is how I am making sense of this. I will try to print it down in the description box, so hopefully that's a little bit more helpful, because I know I can kind of take a left turn randomly. But I hope that you found this in-depth look at the Michael Clay Thompson Voyage level, which is the 3rd level, even though I keep calling it the 4th level. I hope you found it helpful. My opinion is that I absolutely love these programs. I feel like they have made such an amazing difference in our homeschool, and my child has never struggled. Neither one of my girls has ever struggled with anything related to language. My oldest is a little touchy in spelling, but we got that sorted. But I feel like, and I'm going to share with you, I'm going to put up and maybe do like some fun background music, a few of her little like writings that she has said I can share. This is a few of the things that she's asked to do at the end of the chapter. So these are a few of her like assignments, and I would like to share them with you. And then you can decide for yourself if you feel like this is a good outcome or not. I think that she's doing great. I think she's doing amazing. And I feel like this has been a game changer for us, and it is enjoyable. Not only am I enjoying teaching it to her, which is amazing, I'm enjoying our discussions, and I feel like she is enjoying it too. So that for me is really huge. Now, our plans for 7th grade is we will continue into the next level. So that will officially be level 4, which I think is classic literature level. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, if you have any questions at all, guys, I know it's a big price point, but in my opinion, and you, of course, please form your own opinion. I'm here to give you as much information as I can so that you can make your own educated opinion to decide whether or not to purchase it, because it is a high price point. But in my opinion, the value is so incredibly there. And again, there's other ways. Secondhand, get only what you feel you need. I definitely feel like it is there. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. And of course, as always, anything else you want to see while we are still kind of wrapping up this year and in the middle of it, living it, let me know and I will share those pieces for sure. So I hope that you enjoyed this in-depth look at the Michael Clay Thompson essay voyage. Bye, guys.